Hey everyone, it's Justin. Thank you for watching and welcome to my house. That's Justin's house. It's time for another ServiceNow Store Highlights, or SSH, version 05262023. We've got a normal size one after a couple of big doozies we've had over the past couple of weeks, so this should go a little bit faster than we have previously. Let's see here. Let me get my 38 updated or new applications in this episode. 8 of those are going to be new releases, 14 highlights, 1 compatibility update. We have a new category I've started using for minor updates. That's like little small changes that aren't really worth highlighting. So 7 of those, 1 fix, and 7 release notes fails. Let's just go ahead and start with the release notes fails and get those out of the way. We see here we've got Academic Hub, Barcodes TrueView, Cyber Reason Endpoint Protection Platform, GeoFluent Real-Time Translation for Chat... Knowledge AI Assistant, Office Templater, and Wiz Integration for Security Operations. All release notes fails this week. If you haven't seen it before, release notes fail is there's no release notes or the repeated release notes, so we can't really tell what changed. So I can't tell you if it's something good, something bad, or even something urgent. So those are the fails for the week. Next up are the compatibility updates. We've had one for Education Operations Institutus, now eligible for or compatible with Utah. Next up is going to be, did I have any downgrades? I have no downgrades, so let's check the fixes. Feedback app had just a small fix, not worth really paying a lot of attention to. And then let's take a look at those minor updates. Look, I don't have a filter yet for minor updates. So that's a fail on my part. Let's just go ahead and show matching on that. All right, minor updates: Citrix IT Service Management Connector, Cohesity, CrowdStrike Falcon Endpoint for Security Operations, I believe, or Security Incident Response, Node-MAP Experience Component, Service Graph Connector for CrowdStrike, Tableau Connector, and Tanium File Integrity, and Unauthorized C... So these all had minor updates, not worth tying up your time on reviewing those. So let's get straight to the good stuff, the new releases. We're going to start with Clone Admin Console, a new release from ServiceNow's Innovation Lab. Man, they've been pumping out a lot of stuff here lately. So this app installs the functionality for system clone, key features, building a store app with a UI or user experience on ACE framework integrated with existing and new data center APIs, schedule and monitor clones, track progress, and get more visibility into the cloning process. If you're not familiar with ServiceNow, we clone between instances, test, dev, prod, train, different instances someone might have depending on what they're paying as part of their contract. So that's what's new for Clone Admin Console. Let's check out this one from Delinea Credential Resolver from Delinea Inc. Offers a credential resolver that supports 2 different vaults. Users can choose either Privilege Access Service or Secret Server. Key features here: Delinea Credential Resolver 4.3.1 works with ServiceNow to allow for Privileged Access Service, set up OAuth, set up ServiceNow and ServiceNow mid-server instances, add PAS SSL certificate to the mid-server, perform lookups to identify the resources in PAS, and for Secret Server, create a secret in Secret Server, create the user, create the role, and give the necessary permissions. This one does come with some screenshots, so let's check it out. It looks like a mid-server screenshot, mid-server 2 screenshot, and a mid-server 3 screenshot, mid-server app user, I guess. And that's it. Those are the screenshots for this new app from Delinea. They have another one here, Delinea Privilege Manager. Let's open that one up, take a look. Approval workflow between Privilege Manager and the ServiceNow application. Key features: a Delinea Privilege Manager ServiceNow app is available in the ServiceNow Store, combining the power of the ServiceNow approval workflow and Privilege Manager's application execution and elevation application control. Let's check out these screenshots. There is the integration configuration, instance metadata, putting in your token. There's a PM approval request. Looks like approve or deny PM Privilege Manager request. Okay, that's what PM stands for. And there is the request information with an action of approve and a comment of I approve. And there's the response. And there's the contact support for Thycotic. That's an interesting name. Thycotic. It's like psychotic with the lisp. Thycotic. And that's it. That's back to our configuration. So 2 new apps from the Delinea team. Next up, Fujitsu STANZA. I know I've seen this app before. This is definitely a new app, and there are other STANZA-related apps in the App Store, but this is new. So, enables organizations to transform and modernize core manufacturing processes and streamline their order, inventory, and fulfillment workflows, including all quote-to-cash processes. Key features: sales order management, flexible pricing and discounting, one-click order management, orchestrate order fulfillment, real-time order fulfillment visibility, real-time inventory visibility, optimize inventory levels, integrated procurement and customer service 360 client view. On the technical end, configurable low, no-code customizations and built on the Now platform. No screenshots, unfortunately, for that one, but that's what's new from Fujitsu. Next up is going to be ISS ESG Cyber Risk Score for vendor risk management. Seamlessly rate and monitor the ISS Cyber Risk Score of any monitored vendor. Key features, let's see here. Build a scalable and resilient vendor cyber risk program. Evaluate vendor risk on individualized vendor relationships or aggregated level 2 tier vendor security posture performance. View third and fourth party dependencies of vendor supplier ecosystem that can present a risk to your organization. We do got some screenshots, or have some screenshots. Here is the company vendor risk view. In this case, we're looking at Apple. Let's take a look at that next screenshot. We've got ISS Cyber Risk Score tab within the company view. And again, we're looking at Apple Inc. Next up, ISS Cyber Risk Score properties. So putting in the API key to connect to their connection, their API, and back to that company form. So that's what's new from Institutional Shareholder Services Incorporated. Next on our list, New Relic Alerts Integration. Official integration between New Relic issues and ServiceNow incidents. Key features: New Relic app for ServiceNow receives New Relic issue notifications and stores them as New Relic issues in the ServiceNow instance. Let's take a look at this bulleted list here down here. New Relic issues can be automatically converted into actionable tasks in ServiceNow. ServiceNow can receive updates from the New Relic on issues. Acknowledgement and closure changes can be posted back to New Relic automatically. Policy Engine allows the qualification of New Relic alerts as they come in, match entities to configuration items and relate them to the task table. And New Relic enrichments can be sent and seen as images in ServiceNow. Let's take a look at their screenshots. Here's some New Relic issues. There's an issue policy with some stuff blurred out at the top, but basically named global, all critical, and high issues become incidents in ServiceNow. There is an incident record showing all of that come through, and then it looks like they're putting in the description there some of that New Relic information and a URL back to that item in New Relic. Here is a New Relic issue showing up in ServiceNow in the summary, and there's a configuration of the workflow. It looks like that's probably a New Relic. Here's a New Relic payload. So we got a template and a preview of someone's making changes, and then we're back to our list of New Relic issues. So that's what's new from New Relic Incorporated. Let's go to the next one here. Patterns on Agent Dependencies from ServiceNow. New application that's going to pattern execution with Agent Client Collector. Key features, same thing I just said. So obviously more on this one. There's no screenshots or anything. But Agent Client Collector is something that's on my list, and one day I hope to be able to demo some of that on the channel here. And then last one here, a new release from ServiceNow, UX, or User Experience Commons, CMDB controller for the SN node map component. CMDB controller, that's the key features. Okay, merge with a D, duplicate edges, create edges pointing to the group if original node is collapsed inside it, expand and collapse nodes, and search nodes and edges. Again, no screenshots on this one. So that's it for the new releases. Let's get to our highlights and wrap up there. First on our list is going to be Avanair RFP Flow upgraded to version 3.0.0. What's new here? Question type selection while configuring questions in the question library, or while adding questions during RFX creation. The following types of questions can now be configured: checkboxes, choice, date range, grid listing, HTML, multi-select, number, text, and true false. Ability for managers to select a channel for the vendors to respond to the RFX. Enhanced collaboration between the buyer and supplier on RFX records with need info flow. And pricing template selection in the RFX to gather pricing related information for the products and services offered by the suppliers. Next is going to be Avanair RFP Flow Supplier Portal, also got upgraded to version 1.5.0, ability to invite a potential vendor for supplier portal registration, ability to request more information about an RFX response from the buyer portal, and during potential vendor creation and Avenir RFP flow, email address of the vendor will be matched against email addresses of prospective suppliers existing in the onboarding flow application. Potential vendor creation in the flow application will be restricted if the same email address already exists in the system. So 2 good updates there from the Avenir team. Next is going to be AMI asset tracking or asset track model cleanup, upgraded to version 1.1.1. Now supports migrating to models with different model category. Assets will be updated to the new model and new model category. Corresponding CI records will be migrated to the appropriate CI table when model categories change, and requires adding an ACL to allow write access to the ALM_asset.model_category in order for that to work. So that's what's new from them. And then the asset track application from the same company got updated to version 5.0.1. New features: removed the hamburger icon, added barcode detector, joined advanced audit, then go offline, configure which field is used to retrieve assets on the self-certification form, change advanced audit permissions. As a user, I need the sync button hidden on audits so that I don't perform unnecessary actions. That, my friend, is a user story put into the release notes. I love it. Needed value does not equal other field validator. Add image field to out-of-box asset track. Add attachment field to out-of-box asset track. And stockroom audit generator out-of-box. And there you can see them. I'm not going to read them, but a bunch of bug fixes in this one, so that's why we gave it a highlight. Lots of good changes in this patch release from Asset Management International LLC. Up next on the highlights, Beyond Trust PRA integration up to version 23.1.4, expanded support for additional ticket types. Workflow approval no longer requires choosing a single ticket type, adding 3 new roles to allow more granular control of app configuration, deprecated the old user role, but it remains functional for now, and sessions initiated from jump to UI macros and via workflow approval will now have the associated ticket number populated in the session's external key. Next, an updated app, CMDB Workspace from ServiceNow, one of my favorite workspaces, up to version 3.5.0, and what they've done is they've added a unified map, a new, simple, and modern user experience for viewing application service and dependency maps. Remember the new releases and that node map? That's what they're talking about here. If service mapping is not installed when application service CI is selected as a home node, the rendered map does not display CIs, so these are known issues. I skipped that part. And if the ITIL role is not assigned to a user, no records will be displayed in the related items section of the contextual side panel. So get your node map thing and go upgrade your CMDB workspace. You're probably going to see that on the channel. In fact, let me go ahead and mark that as a video candidate, and we'll move on to the next highlight, which bumped me out of my whole episode there. Okay, so next highlight after CMDB Workspace is Designer. Designer got updated to version 5.6.0. New features: load dependencies, UML shapes, UPMX BizBox shapes. Several improvements are related to load dependency filters and fields, relationship styles algorithm, load dependency log errors, and a bunch of bug fixes. I'm loving these release notes. Load dependencies icon and containers, cross-scope privilege on related lists, container label position, error logging and custom fields, load dependency filters, saving of diagrams, relationship definition styles, and other bug fixes. Wow. That's a great release notes from Designer version 5.6 and the Instash I don't know how to say that company name, but I did my best. Okay, up next is going to be Discovery Admin from QuickNexus LLC, upgraded to version 9.3.0, enhancements to scheduled troubleshooting, CMDB lookup, incident error code, incident generation, post-upgrade processing, along with numerous improvements to back-end processing and intuitive updates to the user interface. So that's what's new from Discovery Admin and QuickNexus. Up next, the Power BI connector got upgraded to version 1.5.2. New templates, incident change, problem request, and configuration items dashboards. More details can be found on their wiki here, and there's a link. And they excluded the sys_metadata extended tables from the data source filter. Up next, after that, is Qualys CMDB. And wait for the last CMDB Sync Server Graph Connector, upgraded version 1.6.0. In add IP flow, user can send multiple IPs and one API request. Create or update the CI option for approval flow. Asset metadata syncing to all associated Qualys asset IDs, and the option to provide a script for metadata attribute. In properties page, provided more options for sync certificate, VMDR licensing, and some bug fixes. All right, next highlight is going to be Service Graph Connector for LAN Sweeper, upgraded to version 2.4.0, moving navigation modules under Service Graph's core plugin module. I think that Service Graph Connector is in the application menu. Remove the protection policies from script includes and support of the Utah release. So if you're using that LAN Sweeper Service Graph Connector, you may want to get that updated if you're moving to Utah. Next up, T-Systems Connector, version 2.2.306. Another good release notes. We've got a small bug fix for CI sync issues. An enhancement of contract ID should filter the respective CIs changes to be done in T-Connector scope. Enhancement create script include with functions needed for creating catalogs related functionality. Enable BS (OSI/CBS) and cat item PO to refer to offered product model, and add cross-scope privileges for CMDB tables. Next is going to be Tricentis Test Automation, got updated to version 3.6.0. They were application, recorder, and case creator updates. You can see them there in the middle. I'm not going to try to read them to you all, but some changes there for run test suite configuration and suite stage. Added Utah support for recorder, versioning, better support for Polaris and impersonation command, ability to date fields, and then case creator, support for new helper commands, added full support for custom UI commands, and fixed several defects around importing assets with tables whose scope is set to private. Last on our list of highlights is Turbonomic Actions, upgraded to version 1.1.9, added allow combined actions app setting, and added combine with and replace by functionalities for action approvals. And that, my friends, is the end of this episode and our highlights. We've just gone through 38 applications in this episode, 8 of which were new releases. We just wrapped up reviewing 14 highlights. There was 1 compatibility update, 7 minor updates, 1 bug fix, or 1 fix, and 7 release notes fails. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, please subscribe, or share it with somebody who you think might be interested in filtering through the noise of what got updated in the past week or so on the ServiceNow Store. And until next time, don't forget to always be learning.